Welcome to Hastings Insurance McHale Park in Castlebar. You're watching Mayo GA TV's coverage of the Egan Jewellers County Intermediate Football Final replay as Crossmolina and Davitts meet again to try and decide the destination of the Sweeney Cup for the next 12 months. And of course, battle it out for the golden ticket back to the Senior Championship for 2025. It is a beautiful evening for a game here in Castlebar. The floodlights are on and the scene is set as we take a check on the teams that will be lining up, beginning with Davitts and their manager, James Mulderig. Well, he's made one change to the team listed in the match programme. He has brought in number 20, Conal Quinn, who at 42 years of age will start this county intermediate final replay 7 years after winning an intermediate championship here in dramatic circumstances against Kilshaw. And the player who drops out of the Davitts team is Fiacra Cruz, whose brother Fionn was in action in the Galway intermediate final earlier on this afternoon with St. Michael's, a match that ended in a draw. Elsewhere, it's Anthony Jordan and Colin McHale who wear numbers 8 and 9 for Davitts. But of course, Jordan did play in the attack in the drawn match here last Sunday. Remains to be seen whether or not he will be reinstated to a more expected midfield role, while up front all the focus and all the attention will be on number 13, Cian McHale, who left here with 9 points after the drawn match. Turning now to Crossmolina, and their manager Brian Benson has made one change as well to the team listed in the programme. 19-year-old Diarmuid Fox, wearing number 22, comes into the defence with number 2 Fergal Duffy, the player who drops out. As usual, the players to watch out for in this Crossmolina team are 6 Conor Loftus, 9 Jordan Flynn and 11 Fionn Duffy. They're the 3 players really that make Crossmolina tick, while number 12 Niall Coggins will be hoping to repeat the oracle of scoring a goal here in this replay. He hit the net after 15 seconds of last Sunday's drawn encounter. So that's how the two teams line up then. Our match referee is Gary Owen McMahon from the Davitts Club, and the stage set for what promises to be, and we hope will be, an encounter that's every bit as entertaining, free-flowing and dramatic as the drawn encounter last weekend. We're getting ready for our Ron Navian, and then you'll hear from Pierce O'Reilly, who's on co-commentary duty again with me this evening. Davitts remain the marginal favourites to win back the Sweeney Cup and go back to Senior Championship football. But there are high hopes in Crossmolina that they can make the most of their second chance and win a first intermediate title since 1980. Well, you can feel the tension and the nervous energy in the air, Pierce. That sounds more like U2 in full flow than our Ron Navian. But I think our resident DJ has got the word, and we will pause for the national anthem. Well, a great roar goes up as the final strains of Oran Navian are played here just before the action gets underway. I know there are a lot of Moy Davitts supporters watching in around the world this evening, including John Hughes, son of the club chairman Brian, who's tuned in from Australia. Tig Ruan is also down under. He's a cousin of Cian and Colin McHale. And of course, Sharon Jordan, sister of Anthony, is watching on in Trippadur in India this Saturday evening as the Egan Jewellers County Intermediate Football Final replay gets ready to go. Pierce O'Reilly alongside me. And Pierce, if this is half as exciting and as entertaining as the drawn game, we're in for a real treat.
Oh, I'm really looking forward to it, Mike. The flares are off already in the Albany end. A big crowd has come in for it. Perfect condition. The lights are on. And I guarantee you we're going to see some goals this evening.
So away we go then. Gary Owen McMahon throws the ball in. The game is on. And will it be Moy Davitts that will be celebrating tonight, or will it be Crossmolina? Can they reel in the years again and win another county title? First shot at goal is going to come off the boot of Colin McHale. Dangerous ball broken down towards Sean Kelly, man who celebrates his 32nd birthday today. Sean Kelly, who scored the winning point here in the 2017 final replay win over Kilchuma. So many strands of history connected between that evening and this replay. But Crossmolina looking to write their own history as down the field for the first time comes Niall Coggins. No goal straight off the throw in this evening for him, but he does go long to the inside line, and that's a really good ball, and the mark one out in front, and an early chance here for Crossmolina to go ahead. We've played just a minute in the county intermediate final replay, and that is the lead for Crossmolina off the boot of Jordan Flynn, who had moved inside to the attack to win that ball and kick his first score confidently.
Yeah, it's absolutely great to see. They're interchanging. Patrick Letty went out to midfield. Jordan Flynn went into full forward. Cian McHale, once again, Mike, is being picked up by Conor Loftus. And what a tussle we had in the drawn encounter. Loftus is all over him already. And one other interesting thing, Ronan Clark playing inside, which is good to see.
Well, you may hear in the background the sound of the Kilcommon Cavalcade forming on their way back to North Mayo with the P.D. McDonald Cup. They beat Bonnie Conlon here in the junior final replay not that long ago, a match that went to extra time. We do expect this intermediate final to be just as close. That's an early trip and foul on the aforementioned Cian McHale. His parents, Kevin and Grania, just sitting down here in front of the media tower watching on as Cian McHale lines up this shot. 9 points the last day. It's taken him 2 minutes to open his account, sides level.
Yeah, Mike, he won the free. A ball came across to him in the middle and he drove forward, got tripped, popped it up, and a lovely, lovely score. He got 6 from frees the last day, 3 from play. That's a lovely, easy one to open the account.
Just a few matchups to tell you about. Dara Siren is being tracked by Colin McHale as that kick out from JP Mulhern goes wrong. It's Brian Reap. Oh, what a shot from Reap. Pushed onto the bar by JP Mulhern, and it whistles out for a 45. Well, Brian Reap backed himself, went hard and high, pushed by Mulhern onto the bar, and Moy Davitts desperately unlucky not to score the game's first goal.
Yeah, poor kick out by JP Mulhern. He was trying to get the ball out over Brian Reap, and when Brian Reap got the opportunity, obviously the point was on, but he went with an absolute pile driver, and JP was lucky to get the tops of his fingers to it and put it out for 45. Crossmolina last week started at a thundering pace. Moy Davitts have started brilliantly in the replay.
Well, it just shows you the slightest of mistakes. The margin for error is so tight here. JP Mulhern almost made pay for that poor kick out. Here's Cian McHale, short run up. He's a nice striker of a dead ball. Mulhern comes out, fists it away. Quickest man to react is Niall Coggins, and Crossmolina are on the move. Lorcan Loftus turns into the centre of the field. Goes down under the challenge. Gary Owen McMahon is playing the advantage as Crossmolina sweep across the halfway line. They're over there in the shadow of the stand. That's Jeremy Coggins. as Moy Davitts try to set their defence and await this Crossmolina attack. Player on the ball there, Niall Coggins, just took a moment too long. That allowed Jamie Clark in to try and gather. Ball runs loose down at the feet of Cian McHale. He's fouled, free to Moy Davitts. His brother Cullum, quickest man to react. Now Conor Reid was on the back foot for much of the drawn match, in towards Reap, who's being doubled up. It's Matthew Gordetsky who's got the marking job again. Kevin Mulhern is sitting just in front of him. And between the two of them, they managed to disrupt that Moy Davitts attack. And Conor Loftus is the man who'll try and take it clear.
Yeah, Conor Loftus again picking up Cian McHale, but Brian Reap double marked back there. Kevin Mulhern kind of playing the +1 sweeper on the top of the D. You know, he got a pint the last day. They will need 2 men back there on Brian Reap.
Yeah, Connell Quinn and Oisin McHugh are the 2 players closest to James Mahady, by the way, as the ball instead falls to Diarmuid Welsh. Here is Mahady, brilliant long-range striker of the ball, but that kick under pressure loops up into the air, gathered by Chris McGlynn, captain of Moy Davitts in 2017 when they won the intermediate championship, and the ball cleared away to the far side, but only as far as the waiting Aaron Coggins as Crossmolina tried to keep the pressure on. Loose ball into the centre, seized upon by Cian McHale. Started this game very impressively. His brother Cullum, who played at centre back for the Mayo Miners 2 years ago. Nice delivery in towards Brian Reap. He was a minor some 10 years ago. Reap onto his Kithogue, and Brian Reap shoots high and over the bar to put Moy Davitts back in front.
Yeah, super play. You know, the defence, you have to give them a lot of credit, Mike. They soaked up all the pressure, got a block in, a near-hand tackle. And when they broke, Colin McHale broke at pace. Lovely ball into Brian Reap. And as in the drawn encounter, Reap is out in front, doing really well. He could have a goal, and he has got a point already.
So Brian Reap, as we would have expected, the Moy Davitts captain, he will take watching. Gordetsky is his shadow. Kevin Mulhern not too far away as Moy Davitts get on the ball again. Anthony Jordan to Ronan Clark, man who lit up the minor championship 2 years ago. Quiet the last day. He's come to play today. Ronan Clark with a beauty. Well, he didn't score in the drawn match. He's up and running here inside the first 7 minutes. Beautifully done by Ronan Clark.
Yeah, and we spoke about it the last day, Mike, how he played out the field as a playmaker. He's right in beside Brian Reap in the full forward line. And every single time Moy Davitts get the ball, they're pumping it long into Reap, and off the shoulder every time, Ronan Clark.
Yeah, we mentioned it the last day. His father, Pat, wore that 15 jersey for years for Moy Davitts. 3 in a row for James Mulderrick's team. Crossmolina go long, flicked out by the defender. Or was it Packy Leddy? The umpire felt it was Leddy that got the final touch. The Cavan man in under that dropping ball that could easily have gone anywhere. But Chris McGlynn, a relieved man to see the size 5 fly past his goalpost and away and wide. Kick out already taken by Moy Davitts, who are trying to force the pace here. Very slow to start in the drawn match. Had to play catch up for the majority of the game, trying to play it on their terms today. They don't want to leave themselves with too much to do. They set the early pace. They work the ball to Brian Reap. Tries to take on Gordetsky. The defender dives in. He's fouled Reap. Brian Reap has started this game like a house on fire.
Absolutely. But again, you know, great credit to Cian McHale. He's playing out at centre forward. Took on Ronan or Conor Loftus. When he went to bounce the ball, it kind of hit his foot and it didn't come back up to him. But like lightning pace, Sean Kelly, number 19, came across, popped it into Reap. And, well, it was a rough and tumble. The cornerback dragged him to the ground.
So Cian McHale time again for Moy Davitts. Well, he could do that with his eyes closed. Cian McHale. It's his second point of the replay. 4 in a row for Moy Davitts, and no doubt who has started with the greater intent.
Moy Davitts have come out and played all the football in the opening 8.5 minutes. They're up to the pace of the game. They're up to the pitch. You know, their gander is up. And talking to their manager, he was so disappointed last week. He said the game could be over. Crossmolina were leading, you know, really early, and that wonder goal that Niall Coggins got, but they're up for it today.
Well, they did lose last year's semi-final to Kilmina. They feel they have unfinished business in this championship, Moy Davitts. The question is, can they make the most of this second chance? So lucky to get away with a draw last Sunday. Again, they're quickest to react to the breaking ball. That's a big hit by Jordan Flynn on Cian McHale. The young Moy Davitts man is down on the surface. Gary Owen McMahon has noted Jordan Flynn, so no card. But I think Jordan Flynn there almost sensing that Crossmolina needed something to happen just to get their dander up, as it were, because they've been quite flat in the opening 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's similar to the junior game in so many ways, because Boney Conlon started so good the last day and was struggled in the first period in the junior final. My Davitts have come out and they are full of fire. You know, when the ball broke there, they were the fastest, they were the hungrier to get it. And Cian McHale put his body on the line. He saw Jordan coming, but he says, I'm not bending the knee here.
Well, the good news for Moy Davitts is that Cian McHale has bounced up again quickly. They do have the free. Jamie Clark, brother of Cahill, is waiting to take it. In no hurry to kick this ball away, because right now Moy Davitts are in the ascendancy as the ball is punted through by Cahill Clark. Takes the return pass as well, but he was under pressure from true Crossmolina defenders. Ball flies up into the air and it's going to be carried clear here by Kevin Mulhern. Again, given a free roll as Moy Davitts have dropped a man, and that allows Kevin Mulhern to be the spare man for the Deal Rovers. The man that Moy Davitts had dropped, by the way, is Connell Quinn. He's playing as the +1 in front of Mahady as Conor Loftus gets a shot away. Doesn't land anywhere near Chris McGlynn's goal, but he comes out in any event to intercept it, to take it on, and now Conor Reid will carry it clear for Moy Davitts. Here he is again. The tall Moy Davitts, number 11, came off second best against Jordan Flynn last weekend, but I think has been asked to do a slightly different job by James Mulderrick tonight on the basis of the first 11 minutes as Moy Davitts cross into Crossmolina territory. The McHale brothers again combine on this left-hand side. Cullum back the field. He goes to Stephen Clark, brother of Ronan. Now Conor Reid again. Crossmolina just chasing shadows under the floodlights as Anthony Jordan drops this in around the edge of the square, looking for his good friend Brian Reap. Here is Reap. He's in. Point for Moy Davitts, point for Brian Reap. The goal was yawning, and it's the second time that Reap has got sights of JP Mulhern's eyes, and the second time he's come away without a goal, but Moy Davitts are 5-1 up.
Yeah, he should certainly have hit the back of the onion bag, Mike. A lovely pass from Sean Kelly when Kevin Mulhern broke the ball out, slipped in Reap, but he kind of lifted his head and the ball flew over the crossbar. Certainly should have been a goal.
That's 5 points without reply now for Moy Davitts. We're up to 11 minutes since Crossmolina's first and only score from the Jordan Flynn mark. It is a completely different sort of match to the drawn game. Deal Rovers did all the early running then. Here's Mahady shooting off his left. Well, he couldn't miss last Sunday. Crossmolina have missed plenty of scoring chances in the first quarter already as Chris McGlynn, one of the busiest Moy Davitts men on the field, starts this counter-attack and sets Anthony Jordan away. Still full of running. He has been around the block at this stage, the Moy Davitts number 8, but today back in his natural habitat out around the middle of the field and looking a much happier man as the ball, a loose pass, lands in front of Diarmuid Welch. That was just as much as he needed to turn it over, and Crossmolina are now back in possession. Welch lays it off. Now Jordan Flynn. A lot of movement ahead of him as the Crossmolina attack empties out to create some space. Closed off quickly, though, by Conor Reid and company as Dara Siren holds the ball above his head to send a signal to his colleagues in the forward line. And Crossmolina reset, recycle, and go all the way back into their own half.
Yeah, Mike, but they're not getting the players forward fast enough. You can see back there that Diarmuid Cox and Kevin Mulhern, they're the two free players, but they're way behind the play. And when Crossmolina run into a wall, they're not coming fast enough.
Here's Conor Loftus, takes on 2 Moy Davitts men, 3, a 4th comes across. He's still going. Conor Loftus, Gary Owen McMahon has his hand in the air. He was playing an advantage. Well, that was all about Conor Loftus's decision-making and drive and determination. He's won the free and given Fionnán Duffy, who has really been on the periphery of the match in the first quarter. I don't think we've mentioned his name yet. A chance to kick Crossmolina's second score of the match, their first for 13 minutes. It stops that run of 5 without reply from Moy Davitts. It's now 5-2.
Yeah, brilliant run. And when he took the solo, Conor Loftus, it kind of went up over his head. But we haven't mentioned the Coggins brothers, Mike. Diarmuid and Niall were all over the play in the drawn encounter. Moy Davitts have a plan. They have the clamp on them, and they're not getting any possession.
Good restart again by Chris McGlynn. Moy Davitts retain possession from their own restart, and they're on the move down the field again. That's a foul. Anthony Jordan again centrally involved, and once more he's looking for Brian Reap. They have an almost telepathic understanding. Reap cuts inside, snatched at the shot, though it flies up into the night sky and drops down into the arms of the waiting Lorcan Loftus. That was a wasted opportunity by Moy Davitts to keep the pressure on. Conor Loftus, stopped by Jordan, was not prepared to let Conor Loftus break the tackle there, break the line and gain any momentum.
Yeah, again, probably a good free because they were under pressure and they were a little bit exposed. Anthony Jordan says, Conor, you've just gone on one run. You're certainly not going to go on a second one.
So now the move is on again for Crossmolina. Mulhern to Packy Leddy, who just shot on sight almost instinctively there. Leddy just, I think, felt he was in a different position to where he actually was. His final effort well wide.
Yeah, it's their second wide, Mike. And Patrick Leddy had loads of time. He kind of snatched it or kind of rushed his shot. If he had taken more time, he probably would have scored. But they've also dropped 2 short into the goalkeeper's hands. Chris McGlynn will be delighted. But Crossmolina, they need to get a score.
Kick out again is well worked by Moy Davitts. They have an abundance of kick-out routines by the looks of things as the ball is played forward by Cathal Clark down the line towards Cian McHale. Ball goes out over the line though, and a chance now for Crossmolina again to make something happen. It's Diarmuid Coggins, one of the 3 brothers. Fionnán Duffy is inside and unmarked. Here he is, comes into the line, and Duffy does what he does best. 2 in a row for Fionnán Duffy, 2 in a row for Crossmolina. It's taken them a quarter of an hour to get the engine running, but they're right back in the match again.
Yeah, but they haven't scored from play, Mike, and that is a worry. Their 3 scores have all come from frees. And as well as that, Fionnán, he scored 5 the last day. Good to see him up and going now. He's got the last 2 scores.
Another quick restart by Moy Davitts, and Brian Reap is on the ball again. Jordan Flynn is snapping away at him. Flynn has fouled him. And I would imagine Jordan Flynn is 1 foul away from a yellow card because he's now caught Gary Owen McMahon's attention twice. And for some dissent, the ball is being moved forward by 13 metres by Gary Owen McMahon.
Yeah, well, Gary Owen McMahon, we all know if you say anything to him at any stage during the game, he'll penalise you for it. And if there was something said to him, it's the right decision. A third opportunity for Cian McHale for his 3rd point.
And that is by some distance the most straightforward of the kicks for Cian McHale. 3 frees for him. Moy Davitts double their advantage here. It's double scores, 6-3 in the county intermediate football final replay. You're watching Mayo GA TV, our coverage brought to you in association with Mayo Credit Unions as JP Mulhern tries to mix up the kickouts, looking for Flynn or Siren. It was Dara Siren who was underneath it, but his momentum just carried him out over the sideline on this near side, just in front of the linesman James Regan from the Hollymount Carramore Club. Line ball to, well, in fact, Crossmolina are going to get the decision for a push on Siren. That's what put him out over the line. As away goes Diarmuid Fox, the man who was named in the team to start in place of Fergal Duffy. Here's Fionnán Duffy, brother of Fergal. Drops the shoulder but doesn't lose the defender. Clips it inside to Diarmuid Welsh. Quick hands to Fionnán Duffy again. Moy Davitts, though, have brought a dozen players back between the ball and their own goal, and that's forcing Crossmolina to think their way through this very congested half of the field. Flynn, Waits for the angled run of Conor Loftus. Steps in off the wing at just the right time. This would be some score, and it is, from the Crossmolina centre half back. Well, it was made by Flynn, finished by Loftus, 6-4.
Yeah, that's his third run forward. Yeah, the second one, Anthony Jordan stopped him. So they know the danger that's there. It's interesting, Keane McHale didn't track him, but in fairness to my Davitts, they're really, really well set up for the replay. Oisin McHugh is marshalling the top of the D. They have learned from the last day, and they're certainly not going to let Crossmolina in for easy or soft scores.
Well, Crossmolina have hit 3 of the last 4 points in this county intermediate final replay. 6-4, my Davitts, as they have done since the throw-in. Setting the early pace. Conor Reid goes long, direct, looking for Reap, who is the focal point, the leading man in that my Davitts full forward line. But that time there was just too much pace on the pass. They were trying to take out the Crossmolina defensive screen with one kick. You could see what they were trying to do, but just too much on it. And that runs harmlessly wide. JP Mulhern made to work to get this kick out as far as Matthew Gordetsky. Up the line he goes to Aaron Coggins. So much pace across the Coggins brothers, Aaron, Jeremy and Niall. They're now on the front foot very much, Crossmolina, and they could be in here. That's a really good tackle by Oisin McHugh to stop the runner. Lorcan Loftus. Crossmolina trying to make something of that second ball. There's a fierce scrap for possession. Gary Owen McMahon lets it develop before eventually the ball is cleared away. But in any event, it had gone out over the line before it was cleared, 45 to Crossmolina. But when the Deal Rovers do utilise the pace of the likes of the Cogginses and Lorcan Loftus, they are making inroads.
Yeah, but you can see how good Oisin McHugh is at centre back. He wasn't free the last day. When Coggins came through, he got the near hand tackle in, spilled the ball, and then it became a kind of a scrum to get it, went out over the line. My Davitts well set up, but Crossmolina, in fairness to them, have come into the game. Jordan Flynn at the middle and Darius Iron are beginning to play a little bit. This is a crucial kick now to bring it back to a 1-point game. JP Mulhern is on the 45, a little bit to the left, and with the Kitog, it's a tricky one.
So it's JP Mulhern up from the goal, stabs through it, pulled on by Leddy. Quite literally could have gone anywhere, flies high and wide. It's the second time the Crossmolina full forward has got on the end of a hopeful delivery, but that's what he's there for. He's 6'3", he's 33 going on 34, and he can be a real nuisance in that Crossmolina full forward line. As Crossmolina apply the press and Chris McGlynn manages to beat it, and my Davitts have secured possession through Jamie Clark over on that far side of the field. Rolls it forward into the arms of Cian McHale, gets turned onto his left. Reap is on the move, timed his run perfectly there, Brian Reap. He really has developed into a very strong and very capable ball winner, Brian Reap. That's another trip on Cian McHale. Brought down, well, every time he gets the ball in his hands, the Moy Davitts playmaker, there is a panic in that Crossmolina defence. That time, somebody panicked a little bit too much, fouled him right in front of Gary Owen McMahon, and now the man himself has this chance to extend the Moy Davitts lead. He was surrounded 3-1. There was no need really to commit the foul in the first place, but Cian McHale out of his hands will look to make Crossmolina pay. Kick is going to drop short. JP Mulhern takes no chances. Fists it out, but only as far as the waiting Stephen Clark, and he returns it with interest. First score of the county final replay for Stephen Clark, and Moy Davitts lead by 3 again.
Yeah, but you have to give all the credit to Brian Reap. When the ball went in, it went in over Kevin Mulhern, who was the sweeper back there, and Reap had so much work to do. Won the ball, it was a 50-50, got out in front, slipped it off to Cian McHale, and Cian McHale was tripped. The free drop short, but Clark was there, Stephen Clark was there to tidy it up. Great score, and to keep My Davitts in front by 3.
Well, here is Diarmuid Fox. He's a real speed merchant. That's one of the main reasons he was brought into the Crossmolina team tonight, to give them more legs, to give them more penetration on this right-hand side. As the ball is popped by Lorcan Loftus to Niall Coggins. Here's Jordan Flynn. Again, as usual, doing much of the heavy lifting and making the hard yards for Crossmolina out around the middle. He's been fouled. Great man to win a free and draw a foul is Jordan Flynn. Crossmolina will have a shot at goal.
Yeah, if you notice there, James Mahidi, the jersey is torn up round his neck. They have brought on Connell Quinn to do a man-marking job. Mahidi needs to get into it. He landed 4 super scores in the drawn encounter. He hasn't been in the play yet.
Fionnán Duffy, he's got his own personal fan club up there on the terrace behind the goal, watching this free, but they don't move a muscle, they don't make a sound as that ball flies wide off the boot of the Crossmolina free taker. 3 wides for the Deal Rovers in the first 24 and a half minutes. They remain second best at the moment, trailing by 7 points to 4. Well, whether you're watching at home or away, whether you're in Cruisers in Foxford, Mahons in Crossmolina, or scattered across the county or beyond, we hope you're enjoying the first half of this Egan Jewellers County Intermediate Football Final replay. Crossmolina looking to drive on now. Conor Loftus again runs down the barrel of the gun but leaves without the ball. Possession stripped off him by Cathal Clark. There's a Moy Davitts man, Sean Kelly, on the deck. Not quite sure how he ended up there. Some 50 or 60 yards away from the play. Now he's back up again as Conor Reid feeds it forward to Ronan Clark. Off the ball, I saw Lorcan Loftus and Cian McHale on the floor as well. They're back up now as Conor Reid shoots for a score. And that is well wide. Well, Gary Owen McMahon would want eyes in the back of his head.
Yeah, a poor effort there by Conor Reid, and he didn't have a great drawn game either. He was looking for Brian Reap inside, but the sweeper was back, so he decided he'd take it on himself. Went well wide. Really, really good play from Ronan Clark. Much better this weekend. He's staying inside beside Reap and has played really well in the opening 25 minutes.
Moy Davitts drop off the Crossmolina kick out, and that allows Matthew Gordetsky to drive up from defence again. Gives it inside to Conor Loftus. As Crossmolina just gather their thoughts and look inside. They're scanning into the full forward line where Packy Leddy and Diarmuid Welch are both covered. So Crossmolina will have to work it through the lines. The Cogginses, Niall to Diarmuid and back to Aaron. All 3 brothers involved in that move. Now Fionnán Duffy has the power to hold off Cathal Clark and the poise to find the finish. Or has he? McGlynn under it. Leddy in after it. Well, it just held up in the wind, in the air. McGlynn kept his eye on it all the way. Would have been some score off the boot of Fionnán Duffy, but not to be, as Moy Davitts tried to break out of defence, and Jack Dunleavy has it into the centre to Cathal Clark, the other corner back. Now Conor Reid. Kevin Mulhern, the Crossmolina sweeper, looking over his shoulder to watch where Brian Reap is. Sean Kelly has also joined the attack. Cian McHale shoots that up into the air, and Mulhern reads it well. Hasn't put a foot wrong, the extra Crossmolina defender in the first half so far. We're into the last 3 minutes of normal time. At the end of the first half, Moy Davitts 3 to the good.
Yeah, my Davitts have been brilliant. They've really learned an awful lot. They've pinned down the main men. This being one of them, Mahidi and the Coggins brothers as well. They're not on the play. Great credit though to Chris McGlynn. He has caught 2 under his crossbar, and that was a brilliant clearance. He got his paws up to it somehow to keep it away from Patrick Leddy. That could have been a goal, but certainly my Davitts playing really, really well.
Well, they have history. These 2 teams, of course, very recent history in the Intermediate Championship. Played out a thriller in the group stages last year. Their 2 games already this season have been compelling spectacles as Fionnán Duffy shoots and is left disappointed again. 5th wide for Crossmolina. Another missed chance for their chief marksman, Finan Duffy.
Yeah, but it's brilliant defence by my Davitts. Every kick they've got, Mike, they have been under pressure. There has been somebody on their toe. There's a hand in. There's a block in. So my Davitts deserve a lot of the credit for that poor shooting.
Jordan Flynn comes thundering through that forest of bodies to win the kick out. Gives it off to Lorcan Loftus. Another good penetrating run. It's Diarmuid Welsh with the snapshot. And that's a really good score off the boot of Diarmuid Welsh. What had a very quiet, drawn match here last Sunday, capable of so much more. Flynn again, the dynamic Crossmolina midfielder who came flying through to win the Chris McGlynn kick out. That put Crossmolina on the front foot, and they're now just 2 behind with less than a minute of normal time left in the first half.
Yeah, great score by Diarmuid Walsh. Ball broke out again. Good defending by my Davitts, but when the ball came back out to him, he had the kick hook and he clipped it over. Again, my Davitts though win the kick out. They've won a lot of possession and they have runners coming from every side.
Well, Moy Davitts won the first quarter 5 points to 1. Crossmolina have been very much the team on top in the second quarter so far. They've shot 4 points to Moy Davitts 2 as another Moy Davitts chance goes a-begging. But there's no doubt about it, just like the junior final replay a little earlier, this game is starting to level off again. It's ebbing and flowing, very little between them. Both forward lines capable of doing damage if they get possession. Well, we're going to have at least 1 minute of added time at the end of the first half. Good crowd in to watch the sequel, the most recent instalment of Moy Davitts and Crossmolina. Remember, they served up 7 goals just 2 months ago in the group game. They served up an absolute thriller here last weekend. And this game shaping up nicely. Diarmuid Welsh to Patrick Leddy. Welsh on the loop. Lovely necklace of hand passes. It's Mahady. And there is his first score of the replay. The man with the Midas touch in the drawn game leaves us with a 1-point game.
Yeah, but Conor Loftus again was instrumental in that score. He's attacking at every opportunity. He drew in the second defender, created the opportunity, and when they shoveled the ball along the line, Mahady was in the right place. He will be delighted because he had a very quiet first half. The substitute that came on to mark him, Conall Quinn, well, he is all over him. Every time that he moves, the cornerback is on top of him. Again, Leddy doing well inside as well, breaking some ball and winning possession.
Really good pressure by Crossmolina again on the Moy Davitts kick out. Here comes Diarmuid Coggins. He beats McGlynn to the punch and he's gone down. No free, no penalty. In fact, now the whistle sounds for half time. Crossmolina were almost in for the first goal of this replay, but a last gasp intervention by the Moy Davitts defence meant that the line wasn't breached. A little bit of a coming together between Kevin Mulhern and Brian Reap initially there as the two teams headed for the tunnel. Now there's a few other players getting involved as well as tempers start to boil over a little. Well, familiarity breeds contempt and all of that. It is the third time they've met in the championship in the last 2 months. It is a county final replay, and it is no more or no less than you would expect, Pierce, at this stage of the game. Half time, Moy Davitts have seen an early lead of 4 points reduced to 1. And as the teams go down the tunnel, well, they've got the crowd out of their seats again on the far side by the sound of things. You're very welcome back to Hastings Insurance, McHale Park in Castlebar. Teams back out ahead of the start of the second half. We're just watching the referee, Gary Owen McMahon, to see if he takes any action arising from that incident at the end of the first half when players from both sides seem to get involved with each other as they headed down the tunnel. But it looks like Pierce is going to let it go.
Yeah, he spoke to Conor Loftus and Conor Reid when he came out. Kind of gave them both a warning. The players went back into the positions. But he definitely didn't flash any cards that we could see. Interesting, Patrick Leddy gone out to midfield and Jordan Flynn gone into full forward.
So just listening to Johnny Hopkins there on the PA, confirming that Moy Davitts have made a change at half-time. They've brought in number 23, Pádraig Ruan, and they've taken out number 12, Stephen Clark. And also James Mahady is now wearing a different jersey. Obviously, I'm going to take a wild guess and say that the number 15 jersey may well have been torn in that incident as the teams headed down the tunnel. But in any event, it is a different jersey for James Mahady. Looks like it's the number 30 jersey that they've fished out of the kit bag, the Crossmolina kit bag. And we have an early chance here at the start of the second half for Crossmolina to draw level. Teams have only been level once in the match. That was way back in the second minute. By the way, in case anybody is wondering, little or no breeze here in the stadium. So neither team have an advantage in that sense, as Mulhern's 45 drops in, gathered in there in front of goal by Neil Murphy, the fullback, as Gary Owen McMahon's whistle sounds and the free goes the way of Moy Davitts.
Yeah, it was a goal opportunity because Jordan Flynn was in there, flicked it on, and the defender just got his hand to it and put it out for the 45. But JP Mulhern won't be happy with the 45 because it didn't have the purchase and it didn't have the distance and it didn't have the accuracy.
So as the second half takes shape, we all start to wonder if this game will go the distance again. Nothing to separate them last Sunday. The Cloran Lay has made allowances for extra time and penalties as these teams battle it out for that golden ticket back to senior football again and the right to be County Intermediate Champions 2024. Colin McHale gave the pass, takes the return, shrugs off the Crossmolina man, goes for a big one in every sense. Well, what his brother Cian did here for fun last weekend, Colm does in some style as well. Nephews of the great Gary Ruan, the former Mayo defender, another great left-footed Moy Davitts man, and Colm McHale has doubled the Moy Davitts lead.
An absolutely fantastic score, and he had very few options, Mike, inside. Crossmolina had funneled back, so he was way out over under the stand, and he let fly, and it split the post.
Crossmolina on the attack. Here's Patrick Leddy. Angle is tight. Looking to make light of it. It's very close. The umpire's happy. Chris McGlynn not so much. The Moy Davitts goalkeeper. That just dropped inside the post. We had a great view of it. And what a way to get your first score in the county final. That was a beauty off the boot of Packy Leddy.
Yeah, he missed two in the first half. If there is any breeze out there, Mike, it's at the backs of Crossmolina. Brilliant hands to hold on to it. And when he slipped inside Niall Murphy, he took it on with the kit hook and popped it over brilliantly.
Yeah, the flag's very lightly fluttering in the breeze. It's negligible, really, but Leddy took any advantage he could as Cian McHale feeds Brian Reap, the dynamic duo in full swing. McHale and Reap, the all 1-2, and Reap has delivered another fine score to cancel out that Leddy effort at the other end.
Yeah, 3 minutes played and 3 scores from play. Brilliant to see the attack in football. But Brian Reap, every time he gets the ball in his hands, he creates something. He has scored 3 from play, but he has set up another 2 scores. Wonderful, wonderful start to the second half.
All-Ireland Under-21 winner back in 2016, Brian Reap. He has suffered horrendous injuries since then, though. Has been on the sidelines so often for so long, but back to his best again as Moy Davitts lead by 2. Here's Fionnán Duffy, the man that Crossmolina want to get on the ball as much as possible, but he's missed the target again. I make that now 3 shots, no scores for Fionnán Duffy, but he has hit the target a couple of times for balance, but he has missed on 3 occasions now as he continues that policy of shoot on sight.
Yeah, in fairness, he's working really, really hard. But Oisín McHugh is kind of soaking and mopping up everything that comes through the middle, playing really, really good. He's kind of that +1 back there. And Moy Davitts didn't have that the last day. And Mahady and Duffy, had a lot more space. So good play by both teams. 4 minutes in, and it's really good, fair, all-out attacking football.
Well, you'd imagine this game is going to come down to inches, to millimetres. In that sense, the good news for Crossmolina is I see their selector coach John Mahan back on the sideline today. Crutches just to his left, sitting, I was going to say comfortably, but probably on the edge of his seat, being honest, as Gary Owen McMahon steps in, free to Moy Davitts. He wants a word here with the Crossmolina man who caught Cian McHale. It's a strong talking to, and I'd imagine a card as well. Looks like it might be Dara Siren that's being spoken to. He and Jordan Flynn, well, they have thrown themselves into this game. In fact, it's Lorcan Loftus who's been booked. So a yellow for Lorcan Loftus. Cian McHale again on the end of a heavy tackle.
Yeah, it's interesting because Conor Loftus now has gone into centre-back and Lorcan Loftus is marking Cian McHale.
Oh, brain freeze by Cian McHale. Kicked it to Jordan Flynn. Now is there something Crossmolina can work with from here? Leddy, 2 men on the ground. In fact, it's 1 man on the ground. Oisin McHugh is stretched in there in front of the Moy Davitts goal. Not quite sure if the umpire saw anything. They do seem to be trying to make contact with Gary Owen McMahon as the play continues over on the far side. Conor Loftus trying to drive down that central corridor onto his right, up off his feet. Conor Loftus goes for it and misses the target. Now we'll find out if Gary Owen McMahon was told how Oisin McHugh ended up on the floor. He is scanning around, not quite sure what information he's got from his umpires, but it looks like it will remain a case of who done it. Yeah. Who and how did Oisin McHugh end up on the deck as the kick out is taken and away we go. 7 minutes into the second half. It remains a mystery as out of the Moy Davitts defence comes Conal Quinn. Still going strong at 42 years of age. Now Jack Dunleavy to Anthony Jordan. Colin McHale wrapped up, sucks in 4 Moy Davitts men. Lovely skill, great balance. Can he find a score at the end of it? This effort drifts just wide. That was a good chance though for Moy Davitts to tighten the screw as James Mulderrick is going to make a double substitution at this fairly early stage in the game. Certainly one of the players coming in is Brian Heenahan. Sean Kelly on his 32nd birthday is being replaced. He's going to be one of the players taken out, and the other is Ronan Clark. So Ronan Clark and Sean Kelly are called ashore. In comes Dara Ruan, the man who came back from Australia just a couple of weeks ago. He's gone straight in on Finan Duffy at centre-back, while Brian Heenahan, the man who scored the goal that saved Moy Davitts from defeat last Sunday, is in to the Moy Davitts attack.
Yeah, but Conor Loftus has been brilliant. A substitution also for Crossmolina. On that last attack, he was driving forward, pulled the handbrake, very, very unlucky not to get the score. But on the other end, then, you know, a lot of people surprised that Brian Heenahan didn't start. Played really well when he came on. Cian McHale has turned over the ball here.
Fergal Duffy is on for Crossmolina as Brian Benson introduces the number 2 who was named to start but held in reserve. James Mulderrick feels now is the time to bring in Dara Ruan, an unused substitute last weekend but not long off the plane from Australia at that stage. And the other man who's come on is the wise old fox, Brian Heenahan. Here's Cian McHale looking to extend the Moy Davitts lead. It's going to drop short. It's dangerous. Kevin Mulhern underneath it. And Crossmolina will get this clear as quickly as possible. Here's Matthew Gordetsky, the left corner back who loves to get forward. Flynn, nice ball, strokes it into the path of Diarmuid Welch. This is a nice move by Crossmolina. They're trying to release Niall Coggins, but his run tracked by Jamie Clark. Coggins not giving up on it. It's there for McGlynn, and the Moy Davitts goalkeeper feels the contact, goes down underneath the tackle from Diarmuid Welch. Moy Davitts get the free.
Yeah, brilliant defending from Jamie Clark. He tracked him all the way. When he got the opportunity, got the hand in. Ball was spilled, and popped it across to JP Mulhern, who turned into the tackle and kind of got wrapped up. But my Davitts are still in control, playing really, really good football, but the scoring just has dried up on them. They're leading by 2. If they can push that out to 3, well, they're certainly in a really good position. Little bit surprised to see Ronan Clark gone off. They did that in the drawn game as well. But again, losing possession up here with a very, very poor pass by Jack Dunleavy.
Conor Loftus took the free too quickly there. He was looking for Jeremy Coggins, who wasn't fully switched on, and it just was left sitting in front of the Moy Davitts man. They have the free, they have the possession. That's Anthony Jordan, the man who works with Squid, clips it down the line to Brian Heenahan. In towards Cian McHale, asking a lot of the number 13. Here's Anthony Jordan, who's gone for it. It's going to be close. It's gone across the face of goal. And despite the best efforts of Brian Reap, that ball has dropped wide. 2 of the heroes of the 2017 final win looking to combine there. Anthony Jordan and Brian Reap, as again they put the squeeze on JP Mulhern, who gets the kick out away. Now, carrying the ball down the field again goes Matthew Gordetsky, stopped in his tracks by Cathal Clark. Dara Siren, just 20 years of age, the midfield partner of Jordan Flynn, to Niall Coggins, not long out of minor either. This is nice, neat build-up play by Crossmolina. It's Conor Loftus. The right man has it from their point of view. Can't get the shot away. Here's Mahady from that pocket where he loves to operate, and James Mahady has just landed another glorious score for Crossmolina to get the scoreboard moving again. It's their second point of the second half, and we've got a 1-point match as we approach the end of the third quarter.
Yeah, but you have to give credit again to Conor Loftus. He came into that move 3 or 4 times. Jordan Flynn has just soared into the sky. An opportunity for Crossmolina.
Flynn, the midfield powerhouse. Mahady, it's all opened up. And we're right back to square one. It's the equaliser off the boot of James Mahady, who scores twice in a minute, and you can just sense the momentum beginning to shift.
Yeah, certainly Crossmolina. They've come into it at midfield as well. Dara Siren and Jordan Flynn. Jordan Flynn caught an absolutely super ball out around the middle. And when you think that my Davitts had 2 or 3 opportunities, early in the second half, they took none of them. They struggled to get on the score, took a few pot shots. They have left Crossmolina in the game, and Crossmolina, when they get the runners moving, they're a super team to watch, and Flynn catches another mighty one.
Jordan Flynn is giving a midfield masterclass. He goes long to the edge of the square. It's old style, traditional, direct football by Crossmolina, and absolutely nothing wrong with it. This time, though, it doesn't stick. Instead, it's a turnover and a chance for Moy Davitts to play themselves out of trouble. And Jamie Clark gives it inside. Here's Conor Reid looking to bend the game to his will. Dara Siren's after him. He's not going to catch him, though. Here's Brian Heenahan. Lovely soft hands to Jordan. And Anthony Jordan rolls back the years one more time to kick Moy Davitts ahead again. We came expecting another intermediate championship classic, and Crossmolina and Moy Davitts have not disappointed.
Yeah, Brian Heenahan has been brilliant since he came on, lovely soft hands. Conor Reid as well has really come into the game, drove forward, slipped it into Heenahan and back out to Jordan, who landed a beauty, a lovely, lovely score, curled over from a way out. But it's a ding-dong battle, score for score, 10-9 at the moment, and both sides going all out for victory.
Well, I'm fairly sure that score was cheered to the rafters by Sharon Jordan out in Trippadore in India. Moy Davitts lead, but for how long? Ball half blocked. It ricochets around the square in front of Chris McGlynn before eventually it's carried clear over there by Neil Murphy, the fullback. But for injury, he may not be wearing number 3 for Moy Davitts, but these are the twists and turns of an intermediate championship season. Cian McHale brought down on the edge of the D, stopped in his tracks unceremoniously by Jeremy Fox. Now, Gary Owen McMahon has a bit of work to do here. He's going across to talk to his linesman on the far side. I think he's inquiring how Neil Murphy ended up on the floor.
Yeah.
Then he also has to deal with that tackle on Cian McHale.
Jordan Flynn is in trouble here, Mike, because when Neil Murphy let the pass go, Jordan met him square, in the chest. He'd be very lucky if he doesn't get a black card, because when the ball was gone, Jordan stopped the man. It was that third man tackle. And it'd be interesting to see what Gary Owen McMahon does. He let the play develop, and there it is, the black card, and a huge loss for Crossmolina. Jordan Flynn had absolutely stormed into the game at midfield, caught 2 monster points, and he'll be gone now for the next 10 minutes, and an easy free for Cian McHale right on the edge of the D. I saw it happen, and probably Gary Owen McMahon had no choice.
Now Cian McHale to try and exert maximum damage on Crossmolina. Moy Davitts lead by 2. 15 minutes to go in the Egan Jewelers County Intermediate Final replay. Crossmolina are down to 14 men for the next 10 minutes. Jordan Flynn sent to the sin bin. How big a decision will that turn out to be? His decision to go a fraction late and hard on the Moy Davitts fullback, Neil Murphy, has left him in the sin bin. And now Crossmolina they've a lot of decisions to make. They will try and, I'm sure, make sure that the damage is limited in the next 10 minutes. Will they continue to take the game to Moy Davitts? Packy Leddy flicks it across towards Niall Coggins. How they could do with a Niall Coggins goal right now. To Mahady. He's been red hot all through the championship. Well, James Mahady is having one of those seasons. He was an outstanding Mayo minor 2 years ago. He's an even better intermediate footballer with Crossmolina. Remember the name, 11-10. That's 3 for Mahady. Still all to play for.
Yeah, that's 4 for Mahady, believe it or not. He got 4 the last year, and he's kicked 4 now, all from play. And, sometimes when a player goes off like that, it rises the team. And, Crossmolina, brilliant to come back and get that score.
Fast break by Moy Davitts and Cian McHale. You could set your watch by the Moy Davitts attacker, the man from Gurcheen and Strayed. Well, he makes it look so easy and effortless. Within seconds of Mahady celebrating his 4th, down comes Cian McHale, and with one leisurely swing of that left boot, Moy Davitts are 2 up again.
Yeah, that's his first from play, but it's interesting. Connell Quinn is playing as the sweeper for Moy Davitts. When you have the extra man, when the game is in the melting pot, you'd love to see somebody like Cian McHale free, because he's the guy that can punish you, but instead of that, they're going with a defender.
4 points for Cian McHale, his first from play. Crossmolina looking to hit back, and they have. Well, it's end to end. It's score for score. You blink and you miss it. Conor Loftus it was coming up from defence with another super score.
It looked like it was wide. The Moy Davitts players weren't too happy with it. The umpires were a little bit slow as well to make the decision, but Gary Owen McMahon was happy enough that it was over the crossbar.
Well, it's late now on Saturday evening as this county intermediate final replay starts to come to the boil. 1 point between the teams. Extra time on the horizon. Penalties if required. Is it going to be like 2017 all over again? That time it took a marathon match and more to separate Moy Davitts and Kilchama. Certainly, the intermediate title is never won the easy way. History is littered with so many intermediate finals that went all the way to the wire. As in off the wing comes Diarmuid Fox to Mahady. Remember, Crossmolina right now down to 14 men, but no sign of going back into their shell as they continue to press forward. This is Niall Coggins over there in the shadow of the stand. Mahady again is loitering with intent. Can't quite figure out where Moy Davitts have that extra man at the moment. It doesn't feel like they have an extra man as Conor Loftus, the playmaker, gets on the ball again. Plays a 1-2 with Gordetsky. He's had some season, Conor Loftus, and not finished yet. Looking to suck in 2 defenders, looking to land what would be the equaliser, and Conor Loftus has done it again. 2 in a row for the Mayo versatile play anywhere midfielder come defender / forward. He is an outstanding centre back for Crossmolina, and he's just tied up the replay again.
Yeah, Brian Benson takes the credit for pushing him back into the backs. James Horton kept him there then, and of course he has played there for Mayo over the last few years. But he has kicked 3 points from play, and every single one of them he has been driving forward. My Davitts took Keane McHale off him, or Conor Loftus went off him, and it has freed him up for to run the whole park. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. When you go down to 14 men, big player gone like Jordan Flynn, who steps up but Conor Loftus?
I make that the team's level for what is the 3rd time in this replay. James Mulderrick, by the way, has rolled the dice again. He's just taken out Anthony Jordan. He's brought on Ryan Kenny. 10 minutes to go here at Hastings Insurance McHale Park. Our coverage brought to you in association with Mayo Credit Unions. Reid goes looking for Reap. Brian Reap has a terrific block back there by the Crossmolina man. It was Diarmuid Coggins that threw himself on the boot of Brian Reap to execute the block. It's all hands to the pump for the 14 men of Crossmolina, who, by the way, have outscored Moy Davitts since Jordan Flynn went to the bin by 3 points to 2.
Yeah, it's helter-skelter. We had it in the drawn encounter, went right down to the wire. It's interesting. Keane McHale looks like he's carrying a slight injury down here in front of us. He's a little bit gingerly on his feet, and we know how dangerous Keane McHale is and how he got Moy Davitts back into this game. As well as that, they're pulling him away out the field now. So they want to keep him as far away from the goal. I'm sure Moy Davitts would like to keep him in. But again, you can see the pressure coming now on the players. Changes all over the place. We saw this the last day as well, that the starting 15 won't win it. You have to have a full bench. You have to have a full panel. And Brian Benson and James Mulderrick, my goodness, they're happy to use them and go to that bench.
I make it about 3 minutes left until Jordan Flynn's time in the sin bin has elapsed. That's probably one of the reasons why Dara Siren is slow to get back to his feet here. Now, he has picked up a knock all right, but Crossmolina will know every second that goes by here is a second closer to Jordan Flynn coming back on. In the meantime, Brian Benson has just decided to bring in the evergreen, the veteran, Cathal Carolan. As this game swings into the home straight, Diarmuid Fox, the 19-year-old, goes off. Cathal Carolan, who's roughly twice his age, is onto the field for Crossmolina. They could not be any closer in the county intermediate final replay. Deadlocked at 12 points apiece with 7.5 minutes to go. History repeating itself as Crossmolina and Moy Davitts serve up quite the spectacle here under the Saturday night lights. Kevin Mulhern looking up, looking for anybody to make a move. He's gone long. It's some effort by Diarmuid Welch to get there. Full stretch, almost wide receiver style from Diarmuid Welch to try and make it stick. It was just agonisingly beyond his fingertips, and Moy Davitts will try and break out for the umpteenth time. But Crossmolina, in the absence of Flynn, have just upped it all over the field.
Yeah, they've been absolutely brilliant. They brought the fire, they brought the fight. And that's what happens when a player goes off. Other players step up. Conor Loftus has been absolutely brilliant in that 10-minute period as well.
Conor Reid weaves his way through, but he just took too much out of it. He's furious with Brian Reap. He feels that Reap didn't give him the option that he needed. I think Brian Reap will feel he had very little to do with that pass being intercepted, but you can just sense the Moy Davitts frustration because they were 2 up after Jordan Flynn went to the sin bin. Right now, they're level. They've lost their grip on the control of this game.
Yeah, but you can put all that down to Conor Loftus. He has been orchestrating absolutely everything. He has kicked 2 points. He's on the ball again. He has lifted the entire team. And in fairness to Crossmolina, instead of trying to wind down the clock, they said, let's go and try and win it.
I see the man with the broken hip, John Mahan, has got to his feet over on the far side. He's had to sit back down again, though. He's getting caught up in the emotion. The adrenaline is pumping as Jordan Flynn strains at the leash. He's about to come back in. Will Crossmolina be ahead when he returns? Not after that effort from Finan Duffy flies high and wide. They will be level though, and that is a much better position than I'm sure he thought they might be in when he was black carded in the first place. Now still not back on the field to play though, as Ryan Kenny hits off down the field for Moy Davitts. 5 minutes to go, plus whatever Gary Owen McMahon will add on, and we have had a few stoppages. Connor Reid, Cian McHale back to Reid. Crossmolina defenders trying to hold their position. Here's Cian McHale again, onto his left. This one dropped short, gathered by JP Mulhern, and the Crossmolina goalkeeper keeps it simple and gives it to Patrick Leddy, the Cavan man, who's been such an addition to Crossmolina this season. Division 2 league champions, intermediate finalists, and looking to write their name into the roll of honour again. Next break in play, the All-Star nominee from 2023, Jordan Flynn, will be back into this game with it all to play for. Here on the run is Niall Coggins, just had his pocket picked by Jack Dunleavy as he prepared to play that pass. It's another heavy challenge by Gordetsky on Cian McHale. And here comes Flynn, and listen to the roar from the Crossmolina crowd. They know that right now this game is there for the taking.
Yeah, if you ever wanted a man to come on for the last 5 minutes when the game is in the melting pot, it's Jordan Flynn. He has lifted the crowd. But again, my Davitts have just struggled in that period when he was off. You know, they've taken a few pot shots, whereas Crossmolina, driven on by Conor Loftus, have really, really nailed their colours to the mast. They're certainly not going to let this one go without an unbelievable fight to the very final whistle.
Well, it has been another captivating game between these two great rivals. And you just wonder, where will the inspiration come from to get over the line, to get their hands on the Sweeney Cup? The bonfires are ready and waiting down in Crossmolina and all across Foxford and Strayed and Bohola. Where will they be lit tonight, though? Still very hard to know. Here's Brian Heenahan. Heenahan shoots on sight, flies high and wide. Well, he did pop up, come up with that goal, that golden goal last Sunday. A score now just might be enough to tip the scales.
Yeah, it looks like it's destined for, I hate to say it, extra time. You know, both teams now gone very, very defensive. One score could win it easily. Brian Heenan a great chance, but it's the 7th wide for my Davitts. And as you can see, sitting a man back there as well now in front of James Mahady.
Well, that was Stephen Duffy there that took off on a run for Crossmolina. He's another man who has paid his dues to the Deal Rovers, that's for sure. He and Carl Carlin have been battling away for years as this ball is floated in by Diarmuid Welch. Dangerous ball, knocked down by Jordan Flynn. It very nearly fell to Conor Loftus. Wherever Flynn is, Loftus is never too far away, and vice versa. They'd remind you of the Liam McHale, Kevin McStay double act back in the day for Mayo, where one goes, the other follows, and that time Flynn and Loftus very nearly combining in front of the Moy Davitts goal as the ball ends up in the hands of Colm McHale. Outnumbered, surrounded, 3-1, does well to win his free.
He's very, very lucky because Gary Owen McMahon was considered and given the free the other way for over carrying.
McHale again in the wars. He will not want to have seen that ball coming, and he's been penalised for holding on too long. Use it or lose it, says Gary Owen McMahon. 3 Crossmolina men swallowed him up. It was Siren, Leddy and Duffy, and Jordan Flynn, of course, never too far away. Free to Crossmolina. We have just over a minute of normal time to play in the Egan Jewellers County Intermediate Football Final replay. Will extra time be required, just like it was in the junior final earlier in the evening? I'm sure Kilcommon's celebrations have already commenced. Crossmolina and Moy Davitts, the champagne is on ice as Finan Duffy steps by Dara Ruan. It's up in the air, it's going to be close, just wide off the boot of Finan Duffy. Well, an entire club held their breath as that ball dropped out of the sky.
Yeah, again, Conor Loftus was involved in the move 3 or 4 times, slipped it into Fionn Duffy. And in fairness to Fionn, he got inside the player, but he was off balance when he kicked it. It looks like it's going to finish level for the second game in a row. Very few chances coming. If there is going to be a winner, it looks like more likely that it's going to be Crossmolina.
Moy Davitts just cannot get their hands on the ball around the middle of the field now. Crossmolina attacking in waves. We're going to have at least 3 minutes of added time. Those 3 minutes are about to start as Packy Leddy cuts in. Could he be the hero? This is going to drop dangerously on the edge of the square. It's missed. It's gathered. It's in. It's a goal for Crossmolina. It's finished to the back of the net by Niall Coggins. Crossmolina strike at the death for what could and may well should be a match-winning goal. Moy Davitts have 3 minutes and counting to save their season.
Yeah, you'd wonder why Chris McGlynn didn't come for it, because Patrick Leddy's shot, it just went right up into the air. It exposed the fullback, and when the ball popped out, Jeremy Walsh was there to kind of collect it. He slipped it across to Niall Coggins, and Niall Coggins just batted it into the net. But questions over why Chris McGlynn didn't come, take man and ball and drive it away out the field. It was a very, very simple goal. And Crossmolina certainly, probably deserve it on the balance of play in the second half as well.
Well, he is the man with the golden gun. Niall Coggins scored a goal after 15 seconds in the drawn match. He strikes here with less than 3 minutes to go in the replay. And he might just have won the county title for Crossmolina. They have been outstanding in the second half, but it's not over yet. Moy Davitts now have to throw everything into attack. They've fallen a goal behind against a Crossmolina team that so far in the championship have beaten Laherdon, Lewisburg, the Neil and Ballinrobe after extra time. In fact, the only match they've lost in the championship was against Moy Davitts 2 months ago when they squandered a 9-point lead and ended up conceding 5 goals in 15 minutes. They swore that day it would never happen again. Well, it hasn't, and right now they're on the brink of their first intermediate championship since the glory days of 1980. But yeah. Brian Reap has won a free, and Moy Davitts will feel where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a hit and hope and get the big men in round the square. In fairness to Brian Reap, came out and won a good ball. But Crossmolina have pretty much every single player in their own half, and they're not going to let this one slip.
It's Dara Ruan, the man that came back from Australia to try and help Moy Davitts to win this championship. Gets his hands on the ball, in by Jack Dunleavy. It's a hit and hope effort from Moy Davitts. We've 30 seconds to play. Crossmolina have the football. Cathal Carolyn has the football. The man who played in the All-Ireland final of 2012 with Mayo gets it away from danger to Jordan Flynn. His father, Pather, won an All-Ireland club in 2001. So much history running through this Crossmolina team as Flynn is fouled, his jersey tugged. Crossmolina have a free. The 3 minutes of added time have come and gone. Crossmolina are moments away from what will be music to their ears. Gary Owen McMahon's full-time whistle.
Yeah, unbelievable defending back there again by Kevin Mulhern. Fergal Duffy back there, Lurkin Loftus. And when the ball came out to Jordan Flynn, he was never going to lose it.
Here's Fionn Duffy. Cuts right through. This to seal it. Duffy with the insurance score and the celebration to match. Well, they can light the bonfires all across Crossmolina now because the Sweeney Cup is surely coming home. And for the first time since 1973, all 3 county titles will rest in North Mayo. The Stephenites with the senior, Kilcommon with the junior, and Crossmolina are county intermediate champions yet again. What a way to win it. Niall Coggins' late goal snatches victory for the Deal Rovers. The good times are back for Crossmolina. It is heartbreak again for Moy Davitts. So near and yet so far. Well, there was to be no great escape this time. They came back from the brink last Sunday to salvage a draw. This time, they come off second best to Crossmolina with the late point from Fionnán Duffy sealing a famous 4-point win. What a day for Brian Benson, John Maughan, Budgie McNulty and John O'Malley, the Crossmolina management team, and for the team they've built. Mikey Loftus, grandson of the late great Dr. Mickey Loftus, has captained Crossmolina to a county title. It will mean so much to the Loftus family and to the club. Pearse O'Reilly, what a game the two teams served up, and Crossmolina worthy winners.
Oh, an absolutely brilliant game, all-out attacking football. You know, you have to give great credit to my Davitts. You know, they gave it absolutely everything. But the sending off, Mike, was critical to the outcome of the game, because when Jordan Flynn went off midway through the second half, the Crossmolina players all over the field stood up, and one man more than any other, that was Conor Loftus, kicked 3 points from centre back, but he was driving forward at every opportunity, and you can see what it means to the Crossmolina supporters. For 10 or 12 or 15 years they were in the doldrums. Crossmolina are a traditional senior club in Mayo. 7 senior county titles, All-Ireland club title in 2001, bringing home the Andy Merrigan Cup for the first Mayo club ever to do it. And you can see what it means to them. You know, their big players stood up at the start of the second half. Jordan Flynn was absolutely outstanding. They were behind by 1, Mike, at half-time, 6 points to 7. In the second half, they scored 1 goal and 7 points. My Davitts only managed 5 in the second half. So overall, very, very worthy champions. And when the game came down to it, the goal, okay, there was a little bit of luck about it, but they were the more likely team to score that goal. They kept attacking all the time, and when the opportunity came to Niall Coggins for the second week in a row, well, it was the easiest goal that he has ever scored in his life.
Pearse, I'll get your selection for man of the match, and then what we might do is wrap up for a few minutes, and then we can come back in for the presentation. But who's on the short list and who's the man of the match?
Yeah, for my Davitts, you know, Cian McHale again, you know, he hit 5 points, 1 from play, but he did pick up an injury midway through the second half. You know, I saw him limping down the field running after the defender, so, you know, he was under a little bit of pressure in the closing stages. His brother, Colin McHale, and Anthony Jordan at midfield worked their socks off. And as always, for the second week in a row, like Brian Reap is a really, really good target man at full forward. Then for Crossmolina, Mike, you know, Fionnán Duffy kicked 3, 2 from play, worked his socks off as well. He scored the points. James Mahidi in this first half, the last day, he got 4 in the second half, and without those scores, certainly Crossmolina wouldn't be taking home the Sweeney Cup. Inside as well, you know, the Coggins brothers didn't light it up like last week, but, you know, when the opportunity arose, when that crucial score was needed, Niall Coggins was there. But I spoke about him all afternoon. There's only one man for man of the match. He was superb in the first half and in the second half. To score 3 points from centre back, to put Cian McHale on the back foot, to drive forward, to lift his team, the passion, the power, the pride that he showed in the Crossmolina jersey, it's worthy of a man of the match, and that man is Conor Loftus.
So Conor Loftus is our man of the match after the Egan Jewellers County Intermediate Final replay. His cousin Mikey will lift the Sweeney Cup. His granduncle, Dr. Mickey Loftus, was the former president of the GAA. The Loftus family, one of the cornerstones of Crossmolina GAA club. We're going to take a break here from the commentary position. Very shortly, you're going to hear the voice of the county chairman, Seamus Toohey, who will be making the presentation. And it is Crossmolina who climbed the steps. It's my Davitts who are left with the ifs, buts and maybes. Just to recap, final scoreline, it finished Crossmolina 113, my Davitts 12 points. Let's head across to the presentation.
I'd like to thank again the CCC, Con Ronan, I know the CC committee, our gay people, other Sinead, Jerry Buchan, our stewards, Mike Cummins, Phil Heenan, our grounds people, our pitch looked absolutely fantastic out there tonight. Thanks again to the groundsmen and to Phil Heenan, who did a wonderful job. Well done to Gary O'McMahon, our referee for tonight's fixture. Give a great display out there tonight, and thanks to him and his officials. Commiserations to the Mayo Davitts team. You put in a huge effort out there. No one likes to lose in these circumstances, but unfortunately there has to be a loser. You will be back. You're a big club, and you have a great future. We're great plenty of youth and experience within the team. Well done to tonight's effort, and I congratulate you most sincerely on the effort you have put in this year's Intermediate Championship. To our county intermediate champions, Crossmolina. Well done to every player who took out there tonight and put in a huge effort. Fantastic achievement for the club. Great youth and experience within the team, and the future is bright. There is absolutely no doubt. And we look forward to seeing you in next year's senior championship. We congratulate your officers, your supporters, and every member of the team. Enjoy your night. It's a very memorable occasion for you. Fantastic achievement. So congratulations to everyone. Without further ado, I'm going to present the James Sweeney Memorial Cup to the grandson of the former Oakland Common Lucas here, Michael Loftus, to Mickey Loftus, captain of the Crossmolina team.
Crossmolina, a Gimmers Palace It is my greatest honour and privilege to raise the Sweeney Cup on behalf of this team of management. Firstly, I'd like to thank the referee, Gary O'McMahon, and his team of officials for contributing to a great game. Thank you to the county board for organising the championship, and the groundsmen for having the pitch in such great condition. To Mayo Davitts, you showed your character again today. You're an unbelievable team which we have huge respect for. I know you come again. Round of applause, please. Thank you to our own club officials, Damien, Enta, Michael, and the whole executive for all that they do. As a playing group, we know how lucky we are to have the support of local businesses and sponsors. Thank you to Kieran, Fitzy, and Clive and Norwest Fitness for the S&C work. Our physios, Chris Moff, Dr. Sean, and Dr. Declan, and my own Dr. Rendler. To our selectors, Budgie, John O'Malley and John Mahan, you've each brought something different to allow us to be the best footballers we can be. To the rest of the backroom team, Liam, Foxy, Michael and Dara, we are so grateful for the effort and the organising you do in the background that allows us to play. The lads have also got some great assistance from Rian, Ava, Evan, Paul and Sarah. They deserve a round of applause, please. To Benny, we all thought you were a bit mad when you wanted to take us over a few years ago. You were still good enough to play then, and you're still probably good enough to play now. No matter what was going on in your own personal life, you always put the team first. No one wants to get involved in us. You believed us when no one else did. You got the coaches like Colin Riley, Michael Moyles, Hannah Flynn and Gardner, and Noel Ryan. As players, we can never thank you enough. To our supporters, our families, our friends, and the people across Crossmolina, thank you! It was so inspiring to see the flags and signs around town again, and to see the kids singing the songs, the Gina Over songs in school. It gave us a lift this week when we really needed it. And now, to the 37 players on the panel, this win today is a testament to the hard work and commitment you've given all year. Not everyone was lucky enough to time or play today, but you are just as important to us winning this. There have been a lot of dark days since we got relegated in 2018. We were laughed about around the county. Nobody wanted to sponsor us. Nobody wanted to coach us. People thought we were headed for junior. But you kept at it, boys. We kept coming back every year, but some of you could have stepped away. There were a lot of lads who have stepped away, couldn't keep up the commitment, who went travelling. We know the role that you played today. But we wouldn't be standing here today if it wasn't for the under-21 lads that won the county title last December. The momentum he gave us, the belief that brought us all. Fair play to you boys. I'm standing here as a proud Crossmolina man, but I was equally as proud back on a Monday night in April. At short notice, 40-odd players travelled from all over the country to the Duffy House, so we could pay our respects to Finan, Dara and Fergal on the passing of their late dad, Michael. I knew we had a special team then, and it happened a few weeks ago when Tommy Welch's dad, Mike, passed away as well. I want to dedicate this win to Michael Duffy and Mick Walsh. Finally, I grew up watching my heroes playing county senior football, and I'm now delighted the kids of Crossmolina will get to look up to their new heroes, Connor, Jordan, the Cogginses, the Duffs, the Jimmy Mahonys and Jim Welsh playing senior football for Crossmolina. The G Rovers are back! On Cross!